I'm 64 and I got nothing save retirement. That's pretty scary. So my last real job was in 2019. I've had a few part-time jobs since then, nothing substantial. So I've basically been mostly unemployed for about 5 years. It's been hard. I'm from the generation where there are more gender roles than what there is now. So my wife is a homemaker and I'm the provider. And I don't sort of think, geez, that's my job, I don't want to do it. I just naturally assume that's my role and that's what I want to do. I'm happy to be the provider. But I feel that I've failed because I actually can't provide. So at the moment I'm living on my super, and my wife is helping a bit too with her meagre salary, and that's how we're getting on. But my super's not going to last forever, and then once it's gone, I'm going to have nothing for retirement. And I can't collect a pension yet for another 3 years. I've got a sinking realization in that I'm truly wondering what the future is going to hold for us and what we're going to do about it. Getting my super has actually helped quite a lot, but it's not going to last forever. If you want to know how I actually got my super early, access to it, I'll provide a link on the video when I actually make that video. So just watch this space and I'll provide that video soon. So when I lost my last real job in 2019 with a major Australian company, public company, I was sort of happy because they gave me quite a nice redundancy package and I lived on that for a while, so that wasn't too bad. And then 6 months after doing that, I actually started seriously looking for work. Most of my team were also made redundant, and they were all similar age to me. Half of them decided they would just throw in the towel and just not bother anymore. A couple of them got lucky and got long-term jobs. I actually did get a job, and I found out later that they only kept me for a few months, and then they stuck the knife in my back and got rid of me the very day before the COVID restrictions started in 2020. So after that I had pretty much no hope of getting a job because everyone was locked down, no one was looking for people, and there was a lot of work. That's where everyone shifted to work at home. So even though I started off as happy and relieved to get out of that toxic work environment I was working in for years and years, and then having to be put back into another toxic work environment, the relief starts turning to anger. Like you get angry at the way you get treated, especially when it's job after job after year, it just drags on and on. So then you start getting angry thinking about the way you get treated, and life isn't what you expect it to be when you get older. And then you hit the realization where you get into a bit of a panic. And I was thinking, well, geez, I've got to do something soon, because the longer I leave it, the harder it's going to be to get a job. And that's very true. It's pretty much impossible for me to get a job now. From what I see on the statistics, only 1 in 4 companies now will even consider a person over 60. That's just consider. For the interview phase, that's not hiring. So there goes 75, and that's for a person that's perfectly matched for the job with the right experience. So you can imagine I and a lot of other people like me have pretty much just been waysided for younger, cheaper people. So after feeling like desperate for a while and feeling kind of depressed about the whole thing, you just get to the realization like, screw it, I just can't be bothered anymore, and it is what it is, and I'm not going to let it get to me. So every so often I'll get these little feelings of depression, like I feel like it's just hopeless, you know, like I can see us living in a tent in a couple of years' time, the way things are going. But I quickly put those thoughts out of my mind and I keep pursuing them. So I'm going to make another video of all the projects I've been trying since I've been long-term unemployed. There's quite a few of them. So when I was frantically looking for interviews, they were all disastrous. Everyone hiring me was about 30 to 35 and they were managers, and I could tell straight away they had no intention of giving me a job. And I think the last interview I had, they got quite angry. I got really angry at them because they asked me a question about something so obscure that almost no one would know it, but people like to be tricky and ask you silly questions to see if you know the answer. And I said, I don't know, I would have to look that up. And the guy said, oh, well, sorry, you're not really suitable. You know, we need someone to hit the ground running. And then I just lost it and I told them off and then I just hung up on them. So this is a video interview. And after that, I thought, screw that, I'm not going to work for any more morons now. So I'm just going to try and start my own business. So and during this time I was having to deal a lot of bullshit with job agencies as well. And then finally I found a decent enough job agency after switching, who actually told me that I could get a type of grant and then not need to look for work for a year and I'll actually get paid for it. And that's where I developed my rostering web app. So the payment was very minimal. It was probably about $250 a week. So it's less than unemployment benefits. But at least I could concentrate on this full time without getting bugged to find jobs and fill all the social security job requirements. So after making this channel, I've discovered from the feedback and the number of comments I've been getting that there's a lot of people my age in similar positions. So, I mean, that's really sad that there's so many people similar to me. This is my second YouTube channel. I did try a dog channel when I first got my dog about a year ago, which I thought, oh, well, that'd be cute. You know, people always want to look at dogs, and it just doesn't have the engagement. And when people go to YouTube, I discovered they want to look at training videos for their dog and obedience training and all that type of thing. And I'm not a dog trainer, so all I can make is little cute videos, and I guess people, that's just not engaging enough. So that kind of flopped. But it did give me good lessons in how all this stuff works. So I never really got to film myself until I made this channel, because I was always filming the dogs, so I was kind of out of the picture. So that was a new experience for me. Yeah, so when I was creating my rostering web app, that took me almost a year to write, and it was a 50 to 60 hour a week job for no money. So that's how focused I was on finishing it. So I had to learn a whole new computer language, had to learn a whole new framework, had to learn how web apps work because I only ever done desktop apps. And then I had to learn how to deploy this stuff on a on Linux. So, and I'm not really a big Linux person either, so that was all new. So at least it's finished. My marketing is terrible. I haven't had a single serious person inquiring about it, but I do get regularly spammed about people wanting to improve my SEO scores, which, if you didn't know, that's search engine optimization, which ranks you higher when people search for that type of stuff. So I came to the realization that it's just not something that people search for. It's a very low search topic, and it's got a very niche industry, extremely niche industry. And when people want rostering programs, they They just want cute little programs where they can just quickly add people. They don't want a full system with full equity, because it does take a bit of time to set it up, and it probably requires at least a full part-time job just maintaining it. So yeah, that's the way it goes. So I talked about accessing my superannuation, which is what I'm living on at the moment. In case you didn't know, superannuation, I guess, is very similar to that 401k they have in the United States. So I'll make a future video on the layman's version of superannuation in Australia. I'll tell you now what my superannuation was. Because I'm an older person, my super didn't kick in till I was much older. So for younger people, they can expect multi-million-dollar pension when they get older. But because super didn't start till I was quite old, I only had about $180,000. And the investments that the super were doing was in the stock market mostly. So when COVID hit, my contribution had dropped from 180 to 120, and when I got access to it, it still hasn't gone up. So that was pretty crippling to lose all that much money, considering someone else had a lot of fun making profit out of my money and investing out of it. So in the past, I have had a house. I've actually had 2 houses. So I had one and then lost it. I had another one and lost it. And it takes years to get back on your feet. So I'll save that story for another video. If I get around to doing it, I'll make another link for that as well, which will pop up. Yeah, so those are the reasons why I actually don't own my house and why I'm still paying rent. So my mother is still alive and she's on the pension, and her full pension is about what I'm paying per week rent. So as you can imagine, when I start collecting the pension, I am old enough just by a few years to collect it. People that are a few years younger than me are not going to get any. So I guess I'm lucky there. Those people are going to be really screwed. So yeah, so anyway, in case you didn't know, we're in a bit of a real estate crisis here. We're importing huge intakes of migrants now apparently to fix the housing crisis, because we've got a huge shortage of houses here, which has driven the price up like exponentially in the last couple of years, especially since COVID started. And I've been in this place now for 3 years, and the rent's gone up from $375 to $400 to $430, and now it just popped up to $500 a week. And it's just a crappy old unit. And I know the owner, and I know when they bought the place, and I went and looked up how much the mortgage repayments were for purchasing a place like this 15 years ago, and their mortgage repayments are about $1,100 a month. So, and I'm paying about what, $2,200 a month. So I'm paying more than double what their mortgage repayments are. So you can see just from that, the rich people who own real estate are just getting richer and richer and richer, and people who don't are getting totally screwed. So we got the situation where my pension isn't going to be enough to even just pay for lodgings, let alone anything else, a car and insurance and food and all those other things, clothes. So that's got me a bit worried. And then there's a lot of younger Australians actually migrating out of the country, which the media conveniently fails to talk about. And they got the same thing as me. So in my area here, the average house is about 1.3 million. And I've talked to some younger people in the dog park, and they need to save up about $300,000 just for a deposit. I mean, that's absurd, 300,000. And it takes them at least 10 years to save up that amount of money, because while they're saving, they've got to pay a fortune in rent. So, and then if the price keeps going up, you know, it's like a moving target. It's really hard to achieve. And once they do achieve that, their mortgage repayments are probably $7,000, $8,000 a month. So that requires both couples to be working, or one of the people to be a very well paid job. And if you lose that job, you're screwed. You've lost your house. So a lot of people here, especially younger people, are leaving overseas. You never hear about it in the news, of course, for that reason. Yeah, so the other sad part is the cost of living here. So even if I did have a house, so take for example my mother, she lives in a small unit on the Gold Coast. Nothing special, just 2 bedrooms, very small kitchen, small bathroom, little lounge room. And her body corporate fees are $15,000 a year. I mean, that's almost $300 a week. That's not far from the rent I used to pay a couple of years ago. I mean, why would I even bother buying a house if I have to pay those extraordinary fees? And then there's real estate here. I mean, just a bit up the road, some of the houses are now going, just the regular 100-year-old houses are going for about $2 million. And you can imagine the land rates those people are paying. It's just as much as the rent. So that's another reason why it's not even worth being a homeowner here now, because the rent and the rates and the water bills are just so expensive, even if you do own your place outright. So the only choice really is to go into a really backward rural area where the rates are still low, and supply your own water, get your own rainwater and all that stuff going, or just move overseas. So things are looking bleak, and I'm not sure what to do about things. So sorry if this is a bit of a depressing video. I just wanted to make a base video from which I'm going to branch a lot of other videos out from, so just to let you know why I'm doing it and where I'm coming from. And I'm sure a lot of you other people are going to have the same concerns as well when you get older. So even those people who have a very nice pension saved, it makes you wonder if even $1 million is going to be enough. I know since I've had access to my super, I'm going through the money frighteningly quick. I mean, I still have to buy fuel and car maintenance and internet fees and phone charges and all that type of stuff. It all adds up. I mean, it's not much, a bit here and there, but it all adds up. Yeah, so when I lost my last real job in 2019, I had almost saved up a house deposit. Back then, you only needed about $80,000 for a deposit. So this is only 5 years ago. And I had that saved. And I was just at the stage inquiring around the different banks as to how much money they would lend me, and believe it or not, they would actually lend me about $700,000. So I'm sure glad I didn't get a mortgage, because shortly after that I was redundant. So I try not to let this stuff affect me. I mean, it does sometimes. You know, I'm trying to do a lot of strategic planning on what to do. Right now I'm concentrating on this channel. I'm sort of a one task type of person. I find it hard to multitask. My productivity drops quite a bit. So I'll give this my full effort, and then if I think it's not doing well, I'll switch to something else. So I hope that was useful for someone. Please like, subscribe and share this video. I'm sure it's going to help somebody, and well, if it doesn't help anyone, it will be certainly helping me. So thank you, and Ciao.